Now I'm going to demo a few of the tools here. I won't go through all of them in this video. To make this more clear, I'm going to go to Display and just go to Guru Shading, the standard shading. I'm turning off the lines, just makes it easier to see. So first I'm going to enable the Pool tool. And when I enable any of the tools, down here in the Attribute Manager, you'll see some tabs, which we'll get to a couple of these in this video. But the Settings tab, a lot of tools will have size and pressure. Some just only have size. But if I click on the Settings tab, I can adjust the size of the brush by pulling this slider here. And if you look on the object, the brush is much larger. The pressure is this, guides the strength of the tool. A much easier way to adjust size and pressure of these sculpting tools is to hover over the object and click and hold the middle mouse button. So I'm just clicking and holding the middle wheel mouse. If I drag to the right, the brush will get bigger. If I drag to the left, the brush will get smaller. You also know that by now that the shortcut to go to the 4 view is to click once on the middle mouse. So if you click and let go, you'll go to the 4 view. So you have to click and hold when you're doing this. So to adjust the pressure of the tool, click and hold. And if I mouse up, the pressure increases. If I mouse down, the pressure will decrease, and you'll see that little slider. As it comes down, it means the pressure is, the strength of the tool is getting less and less. And this means the strength of the tool is getting higher. Okay, so Pool tool, what the heck does it do? Alright, so I'm just using a mouse. You can use a Wacom tablet and a stylus with this, which will be pressure sensitive, but I'm just using a mouse here. So click, hold, and drag, and what the Pool tool does is it pulls the surface upwards, okay? And if you hold down the Control key, whether you're on Mac or PC, it's Control key. Hold down the Control key, click, hold, and drag, it'll push. So typically for a lot of these tools, if you hold down Control on the keyboard, it'll do the opposite. Okay, so pull, hold down Control, push. What's a little bit weird with the Mac, sometimes the Command key will do the opposite and sometimes it will not. So you'll have to experiment, but typically the Control key will work to do the opposite of what the tool typically does. What else do I want to say about the Pool tool? I think that's about it. A real simple one is the Grab tool. If you look down in the Attribute Manager, the setting, it only has a size attribute here. So click, hold, and drag, and it'll grab, and you can pull and distort the object. And the smaller the brush is, the finer your control is. So the grab is just what it says. It can grab the surface, and you can pull it and distort it in any way. Smooth, you can guess what that is. It has a size and pressure setting, and it just will smooth over the surface. Okay, so like any ridges you have, it'll just smooth it over, and that's about it for that one. Wax is interesting. It's called wax because the analogy is that you're pouring wax into a depression. So let me enable the wax tool. It too has a size and pressure setting. And let me zoom up here. So I'll go into this depressed area, and I can fill it as if I'm filling it with wax. And to a degree, you can kind of like, I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not. Let me decrease the size of my brush a little bit here. You can like add little ridges of of digital wax, I guess, right? So you can add these ridges here. So that's cool. That's what wax is. Knife is interesting. Knife works best on very fine detail, but I think it'll work okay on this one. Knife is like as if you're cutting into the object, and a lot of times it's more dramatic. If I really decrease the size of this, it might be a little bit more apparent. Let me go up here. And again, if I hold down the control key, it does the opposite. It pulls up a ridge. So knife tool, cut into the surface, hold down control, and again, I'm on the Mac. Control works on PC and Mac. I'm making these ridges by holding down control with the knife tool. The pinch tool is the next one down. It's as if you're using two fingers to pinch clay. So let me get the pinch tool again. You can increase the pressure here and the size, but if I go over a ridge along the axis of the geometry, so to speak, it's like I'm pinching and making this ridge much more, thinner. And let me, just for the heck of it, let me really increase the strength and decrease the size of this, and you can see it. It gets pretty intense. So if you want to make like wrinkles on your sculpture or whatever, that's one way to do it. Flatten, no surprises there. It flattens it, right? Amplify is interesting. So what it'll do is it makes ridges, it increases the contrast. So if you have a ridge next to a depression, it'll make the ridge higher, and it'll make the depression deeper. So that's the amplify tool. And the other ones I think I'm going to go with, the last one I'm going to cover in this video is erase. And erase is really cool because what it does is it goes back to the original geometry. It erases all the stuff that you did to the object, and it just goes, in this case we started with the capsule, right? So it's erasing all of the stuff I did, and it's just making it's going back to the original geometry of the capsule. The last thing I want to talk about is the Symmetry tab here. So it's the easiest, and all the tools have I think all of them have the Symmetry tab. So, but like it's really easy to see with the knife tool. So here's the knife tool. Come down here at the Attribute Manager and click Symmetry. And just so we can see where we're at here, let me change this. So we're looking right. I got the x-axis going left to right on your screen. I have, I'm down here, where am I here? Knife tool, Symmetry tab. I'm going to enable the symmetry by clicking on the x-axis, meaning it's going to be symmetrical with the x-axis. So here I got the knife tool. So now you can see I got the brush on the right, and I got this other little dot floating around on the left, meaning whatever I do on one side, it's, it'll make the exact same cut on the left side. And this is really, really cool because a lot of the stuff you're going to do is symmetrical. Like if you're going to make a fish, for example, or a human face even, you'll want to sculpt symmetrically. So let me do the pool is the same thing. Whoops, I got pool enabled. So let me go down to Symmetry and enable the x-axis. And so like you can see how the symmetry setting works. Remember to disable it whenever you want to, remember that the setting is there so you don't get confused, and enable it and disable it as needed. The other things I'm going to mention, which I don't think are that really useful, is this link size, link pressure, link symmetry. If you want all the brushes the same size for all your tools, you would click that. I don't feel that that's very useful. If you want to use link symmetry, might be interesting, because if you're doing a symmetrical object and you know that all tools, you want every tool to be symmetrical, you would just enable link symmetry. So we didn't cover everything, but that's enough to get you started with the sculpting tools.